Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll.
Old number 7, Jack Daniels. And we call him old number 7 Jack Daniels because he is number 7, big cat. He's trying fiercely to get out of there. I'll just give him a hand here. Yep. There he goes.
My little red star impatiens are finally beginning to fill out somewhat, and I looked yesterday for some more to put in the holes where they died out, this one and at least one toward the back, so I did not find any though, but I'll try again, and hopefully this one will still look pretty. We still have quite a bit of time before frost comes, even if it should come early, which it has been doing, except for last year. Last year we actually had a long and pretty, actually beautiful fall. And I did find, I don't know if these are the pale, pretty yellow that I had purchased before, but I found these little mums, and I did go ahead and get them just in case they might be, because they started out like a pale yellow, and then the yellow in the center deepened, and they just were such a beauty in all the different shades of yellow, but mostly just a pretty pale yellow. This little pot is filling out nicely. Even the catmint is coming back, but of course it's not really making a showing in bloom and everything, but it could still too. But the zinnias that I put in there are looking great, and then of course I had these in there to begin with, and then I went ahead and planted a little yellow zinnia in the top in this little tiny pot, and they're just looking good. My husband went to see his twin brother today for a little visit, and so he actually left me a note leaving me this morning. I got up and there it was, and he signed it, "Your devoted husband." I bet not very many people have their husband leave them and sign it, "Your devoted husband." But it was funny. It was cute. I'm going to have to keep that one. Yesterday I took the movie that I made for my sister Christine to her, and we watched it together, and I think she loved it, and she's going to be proud of it, and so that made me feel wonderful. She asked me how much she owed me for it, and I told her, well, I've been telling everybody it's one of those items that are priceless. There is no price I could put on it, so of course I just wanted to do it for them. But honestly, I will be glad when they're done, because I'm getting so weary of doing pictures. But when you see it and then see the joy it brings them, it's so worth it all. My niece actually had came to visit my sister, and I had given her a copy of it, and she watched it and she said, "Okay, I won't lie to you, Aunt Nancy, I cried." So it was just so cute that they thought it was good enough that it touched their emotions. And then I got home and I was so tired. I can't seem to go anywhere without just having extreme fatigue, and my feet swell, and it was just, I felt miserable. And so I looked at the garden and I thought maybe it'll last till tomorrow. And so last night was last evening, the first time that I did not water it unless God had watered. And you know what? We got rain all around us again, but not here. But anyway, it did make it. This is the morning after, and here it is looking gorgeous. So that's wonderful. And that's the first time. Well, it'll be so wonderful when I only have to water every other day instead of every day. It's just amazing what a difference that makes. And of course, every day that I can, I'm out here getting pictures for my Facebook and Instagram, and then post for my YouTube channel. So I'm even staying busy just with that. But that is my favorite part. This is my favorite part, to get to see it myself, enjoy it, take the pictures and show them to you. That's kind of what the whole thing is all about. And whatever else God has in mind, I'm open to what He wants for me. I hope that's what the plan is. I also got some potting soil so that if I want to move some of this around, put it in pots and fill up a hole where I finally get some dead, dried up stuff out of the way and leave an empty spot, I'll have something to put in there, hopefully. The peaches are practically all gone. They're all gone for anything that we're going to use them for, except to feed the butterflies and June bugs. But anyway, I love to have the butterflies in the garden, so I'll put up with the June bugs. But anyway, I finally did get around. I just about let them all ruin, but I finally got some of them done when we came in, and I decided not to water. I did go ahead and cut a few of them up and put in the freezer for us to eat. But there is just so much to do when you garden, and if you do, I'm sure you know that. But got my hands full of debris here, but I was going to turn this little one around. But it keeps you busy, and right now is beginning to be the wonderful season. If it keeps on being like in the 90s, low 90s, and I know that sounds hot too, and it is, but it's still so much better than the triple digits, and the plants are responding to it so much better, and I can even find a little bit of time to just enjoy it myself, because it's not enjoyable when you're out here just suffering in it. Look at this pretty little dark plant. This is called a white chocolate snake root, and it's beginning its tiny little tufts, and they'll just fill it out with white tufts and be so beautiful. But I wish we would have gotten the rain. I was looking forward to doing some transplanting and a few things. But you know what? I've got plenty to do, because I'm going to go in and get back on my youngest sister's movie. Well, after I get a little bit sprayed. See this little bag right here? It looks like a gray, pale greenish gray blister bug, but they are notorious for getting on like the Clematis. This is a coleus. I was trying to say celosia, but this is a coleus that it's on right now. I sure don't want that, but I don't like them to eat up any of my stuff. I'm going to spray this one and hope that it dissuades a bunch of others from coming. You can tell they've been on this one. They just, if you let it go too long, they will absolutely strip everything and leave nothing but just the veining on the Clematis. I had a little African daisy to open up. It's loving this slightly cooler weather. And I don't know if this little petunia can rebloom again or not, but I did go ahead and trim it off and give it a chance. This one is still looking healthy. This one's not so much. It may not make it. But we have the little coleus in there, and they're starting to grow up. And of course the beautiful Dachandra, and the Dusty Miller. And look at this beautiful hummingbird mint glowing in the sunlight this morning. How pretty is that? And there's the pretty grass seed heads that shout out it's gonna be fall very soon. A little bit of the tall phlox still remaining, but not a lot of it still left in the garden. So this is another thing I was hoping to get to trim back some of this Gara and root it and see if I could get some started for other places in the garden, but also for some friends of mine. At least Alma, I think she needs one of these in her garden. And anyway, I'll just have to wait. Maybe we'll still have some good slow rains and get to do a bunch of that stuff in some cooler weather, and yet early enough that it can get its roots down and just do well. Go ahead and have them in good so that when the cold winter comes, they'll be able to withstand it and come back in the spring. I did fill up some of the pots with some little coleus, and they look like they're going to make it. I hope they do. And of course, this is like one of the spots where I need to just put something else there. I think I plan on clipping this back and just putting one of my pots from where I've got them just kind of clustered together, and just spread them out and put some of them around where I'll have bare spots when I trim this out, should that ever happen. My friend Alma actually came to help me. She came with the purpose of helping me, but I was so into my movie, making it for my sister, and it was turning out at the time, which that part is still good, but I've got to get the rest of it together, and it's not at all, but it will be. Trusting in the Lord that He will help me. He always has, so I can't think about not being able to do it now. That's not to say that there's no frustration or anything, because there's a lot of frustration in making a movie, iMovie. If you've ever made one, you know. It's just, you want it to come together, and sometimes it does, and sometimes you're not even thinking about it, and a word from a song will fall exactly where you need it in the pictures to make the storyline, and then it's just such a pleasure. It's like you're absolutely working with God, and He's working with you, and you're getting that done, and it's just so beautiful when you see His handiwork in what you're doing. I see a pretty butterfly over here, but I don't know if I can get it. I'm going to try. If I get close to it, I'm pretty sure it will just go ahead and fly away. So it finally happened. We're getting rain. So ready for this. Today is September the 1st, and we're starting it with rain, which is a beautiful promise of hope for September to be a wonderful time in the garden. I was dreading August, not knowing if I would be able to make it through, because July was hot, and you know August is usually hotter, but we were so lucky to not have. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't bad. It was still hot. We still had some struggles through it, but mostly it came with several cool downs, and I'm trying to think if we even got any rain. I think we even got one rain, so that's great. And on one of our cool down days, I had gone to see my cousin, our cousins. We actually had a cousins reunion, and you should look at those pictures of their gardens. They're so beautiful. But I also did not water that evening. I got in and it was cooler, so I thought maybe, just maybe, it'll be all right. And then I did check it out, and it looked like it was going to be fine. So, but by the next day, 3 o'clock the next day, there were so many things out here in the garden that was just totally wilted. And I had to get out here in the heat of the day to save them. But I think I did. I'm pretty sure that I was able to save them all. They looked like they were not going to come out of it, but in a few about 30 minutes or so, they begin to perk back up. This little autumn clematis is coming along with its pretty white bloom. It won't be long till all the chrysanthemums are blooming, giving us lots of beautiful color in the garden. Getting ready for fall and its last showing, which is usually a grand finale for the garden. I was anxious to get out here and see how much rain we got. I was so excited, and look, we got a tenth maybe. So, but maybe we'll still get some more. I'm hoping we do. And even if that's all we get, it was wonderful. Last night when I was watering, I did go ahead and put a few clippings in some of the bare spots in the garden. And that's great because then they got the rain. And of course I had them watered in, and this will just encourage them, I think, to go ahead and put down roots and live for us to fill up the bare spots for our autumn tour. And this is one of the little pots where I put some little coleus in it to make it fill out a little. I love having the sedums in here where I don't have to keep repeatedly putting different things in. But this will fill it up nicely for this year. But there are lots of places where I need to get out here and clear this out. For some reason this year my sedums didn't just keep going. They usually keep going, get bigger, look more beautiful. But this year they died out in many places, and I want to come out and get these restarted again, put some fresh dirt or soil in there, and just give them another chance to be beautiful. And I think just practically all my sedums did this, so that's going to be a job. I even took a little clipping or two, actually two, out of this top part of my Red Star Impatiens, and I put them in those little holes. Here's one of them, and there's another one over here on this side right here. So, and I think the rest of them did have something in them, so I don't know if they will root, but I know that today they have a wonderful chance of doing so as the temperatures have cooled down a bit, and because of our rains. And of course I did water them in well too when I put them in there. So hopefully this will, before long, just be a glorious little spot of beauty. I've been wanting this one to bloom for me. I've never seen it till this year with it mixed together, except of course on the package, the picture on the package, but I love it, and of course I just love them all. Flower is just like a little piece of God's glory that He created for us to enjoy. The sedums are beginning to put their color on, their beautiful blooms, and you know they bring the butterflies. And I did divide that one little hanging basket in the back, and I took the white double impatiens out. They just were dying there. But I took them out and put them in their own little pot that we recently purchased, and hopefully they will still have time to make a showing and look beautiful and open up those beautiful white blooms that look like roses. And my husband saved me some rainwater in buckets for these little plants that are under the eave and don't get the rain. So now they've got some of God's watering too. I trimmed back this little pink Texas star hibiscus, and look, it's putting on new buds and new blooms. And oh my goodness, and there's a grasshopper. I'm getting it in there for you if I can find him, although I don't know why you'd want to see one of those. I certainly don't. I need to spray. I keep saying that and not doing it. So these are also new pots that I just recently purchased, as are the mums that are in them, and I hope these will live through the winter. I think this might be that pretty yellow. If I'm not mistaken, it just gets more gorgeous of a yellow as it goes along and changes color from the pale yellow to still a pale yellow, but just a little darker. And then I forget, but I think it goes to a golden and maybe kind of an orangey color before it's over. And this one seems to be a little bit different, so we'll see what color it is. I'm not sure. It's kind of between a yellow and maybe a purple. But even though there's still a tremendous amount to do to get ready for fall, I feel good that just the things I have got kind of started going, so that they can, you know, as soon as we clip something off and want it to renew itself, or just to make it look neater, it still takes some time for it to get out of that fresh haircut look and into something where it looks becoming. And that reminds me of our pastor's sermon. I want to put something on here about it. It was so very good. But I was thinking, he said we are becoming. You know, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." And then, we can never be that, but we can one day. We just have to keep on becoming until we're in His presence, and then we will be perfect as He is. But I also thought that kind of becoming has two meanings, because it also means it looks good, and this is becoming ready for fall, and right now it's becoming to look at and enjoy. I want so much to enjoy this day. I want to do everything, but that's not going to happen. It never happens. happens that way, but I want it to. I've got the sheets in the dryer ready to go on the bed. I need to go do grocery shopping. I want to get back on my sister's movie. I've got one almost finished, one section almost finished, but it's not really finished because I've got to, there's several little things I've got to tweak, and when you tweak something, sometimes you have to change a whole lot of things. So, you know, I've got that to do. So there's just so much, and I really just want to enjoy it. I just, you know, what I would like to do is just to, you know, take a nap, or maybe not even sleep, but maybe just watch a movie, but just to relax. Doesn't that sound great? Certainly does to me. But of course, you know, you have to put the sheets back on the bed before you can curl up in it and enjoy some downtime. So that's got to be first on my agenda. And then it'd be nice to have some food in the house. So I'll probably just be busy today again. But at least I did take the time out to go ahead and show you the garden after the rain, because it's always beautiful right after the rain when it's fresh. And then it's also beautiful even days after the rain when it's got the time to soak that all up and sometimes put on new blooms and new growth and just be beautiful. Look at this little darling pot of creamsicle double profusion zinnias, and it had this little one here, this little celosia that came up volunteering there, and then I went ahead and put a couple of little coleus because this side was kind of empty looking, and I think it'll be better when they grow up and it becomes fuller and more beautiful. And I added some coleuses to this pot, and it's got these pretty little pastel colors of globe flower in with it, so I think it's going to be pretty too. And then I think, well, this may be my favorite color. It's just the pale yellow. But these are so pretty. This is a pot of profusion zinnias, just a single. And sometimes they just fill out like this and make a gorgeous little display. And of course, there's always things that need to be done that I know I won't get to today, but this needs to come out of here, because everything else can look prettier once the old dead stuff is out of it. I was thinking about trying to find a taller little plant stand to put my little squirrels on, because they're totally hidden over here, and I think they're cute, but I don't know if I'll get that done. I haven't really found one yet. And I kind of like that one there. Maybe I'll just have to try to remember next year to put some more low growing stuff in this little pot. But don't you just love these beautiful periwinkles in their pretty bright color? I must try to remember to do more periwinkles next year, because they add the color when the season is to the point that most other things are trying to quit. They just keep right on going. And move that little zinnia away from this little figurine's face so you could see how pretty she looks there. This was one of the plants that wilted down. Oh, it was so wilted that it was laying down, and I didn't know if it would come out of it, but luckily it did. It's looking great this morning. but you cannot leave them very long. And it was not the time to start watering every other day. Yes, these were wilted so terrible that I thought they might not make it either, because sometimes the zinnias, when they get all brittle looking, they don't come out of it. But luckily I didn't wait too long, and they did. They're looking great this morning. Sometimes think when I do this, well, I'll have some here that I can, take up and transplant into empty holes. But then when I get it all together looking like this, I don't want to disturb it because it looks good just over here in this little, what I call my seed box. The other end doesn't look quite so good, but they are beginning to bloom. These little chives are blooming, but I have learned not to leave them. When they dry out, go ahead and cut those off and get rid of them, because otherwise they will be coming up like weeds everywhere. What a job the garden is, but what a wonderful blessing on a day like today to have this to come out and enjoy. Even if you know you need to be doing something else. But sometimes a person can be glad they didn't resist to have a moment to enjoy something. Especially when we work so hard on it. It's just like a godsend to have a moment when the weather is cool and you give yourself that time. I wish we had so much more of it, but I have got to go and get busy and get something else done too. Look, this little one is beginning to bloom also, and maybe soon this whole thing will be overflowing with beautiful blooms like this one beside it. That one little pot, and it's just full of beautiful single profusion zinnias, and right behind it there are the purple globe flowers. I love a marigold. I even love the scent of the marigolds. And there's some yellow ones right over here, in with the pink Strawberry Fields globe flower. And I don't remember if I showed you that I did go ahead and put a little coleus in this pot where it's kind of looking bare in that one spot, and I need to get out here and just dig this up a bit and put it down deeper in the soil so it will have a better chance of looking beautiful. Look at this beautiful Kong coleus. This is one of my favorite colors, and it had not done much all season, but right now it's looking good. That's a begonia, and there's another one back there toward the back. Some of these I can't even hardly see because they're all grown up around them, but I need to get back there and see. There's a hosta in the back that I would like to divide and put in some of these pots way in the back where I don't think I have anything growing, because I tried to start some things there, but the snails got it. So I would love to fill those pots up and have them doing great so that they will be able to make it through the winter and come back in the spring. Also, I did trim some of my red salvias, and this is a whirling a whirling butterflies or gara. Not to lose my voice here, but I did put, I think, about 4 of these along this fence because they just look so pretty with the little butterfly swirling up against this gray when it's the pretty white. And so hopefully they will have a good chance to get going this year too. I even put one of the pink garas here also. And this is another place where my succulent went ahead and just all but disappeared. So I want very much to get this fixed before we have our little tour. And this is another, this end of it looks good, but if you go on farther down, it's just bare. And I don't think it would take a whole lot. It just takes some time. And I just need to get these restarted again, and I need to do it soon. Today would be great, but you know that's not going to happen. There's just too much other stuff to do, but maybe God will give us another wonderful, cooler, rainy day to be able to do this at some point, because I need to do it soon so that it can have time to renew itself and get itself going and started and start filling out so that it can be pretty again. And I need to go ahead and trim off some more of my zinnias. I always hate trimming them off because I love them in the garden, but they are looking ratty. And if I trim them, they'll put on more fresh ones, which is absolutely, no question, the thing to do. I just need to do it. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.